things, we haven't even picked it up. Many of us haven't even read the whole thing. Many of us haven't even read the translation cover to cover. Nothing. And this is supposed to be the utmost priority. If I told you that there's $1 million buried in, outside in the field, I give you mark an X, $1 million, 10 feet deep. Here's a shovel. What kind of effort would you put in? And if I told you there's a quarter 10 feet deep, here's a shovel. What kind of effort would you put in? You compare the effort. So the effort you put into Quran is only based on what you think it's worth. You understand that? Your effort is only based on what you think it's worth. So if you're not giving it much time, that's how much it's worth to you. That's what matters to you. If it's not the greatest treasure to you, it doesn't require that digging. If it's just another book on the shelf, and it's just free leisure reading, right? Then that's different. So the Quran, the two elements of our attitude, you tell me. I'm not going to tell you. What is it? Because I don't want couch potato lectures. Beyond criticism and highest priority. Highest priority. Okay? So this was the second part of the internal prerequisites. The third prerequisite, perhaps the most difficult, is the resolve to change according to the Book of Allah. The resolve to change according to Allah's book. Here you have three categories of people. Category one, may Allah make us from them, are people that when they take the correct attitude with Kitabullah, when they have the correct intention with Kitabullah, and they start studying it, they start studying this amazing book, they find that it's asking for a direction. It's asking you to take a certain course in your life. And when you analyze your life is going this way, the Quran is going that way. There's a gap between your life and the Book of Allah. The category one are people who say, no matter what, I am going to give up the rest of my life closing this gap. Maybe I'll never get there, but I'm going to give up the rest of my life closing this gap. Whatever it takes. These are the people, the first thing they lose is what? What do you think? Huh? Family love, friends, affiliations. Everyone they love, everyone that they relied on, their whole clique, everyone that was their shelter now becomes they're the same people who abandoned them. What's wrong with you? I used to be cool. I used to be proud of you as my son or my daughter. What's going on with you? If you wanted to be a mullah, you should have told me. We would have never brought you to America. Right? You want to be like this? What's the point of all this? Don't you know where we are? Why are you being so extreme? Who will say this to you? Your loved ones. Your loved ones will say this to you. Your best friends from kindergarten, from high school, they'll abandon you. They'll walk away from you because you're too weird for them now. Right? And so your entire circle is going to just vanish. It's not going to be the same. And when that happens, would you feel lonely or good about yourself? You're going to feel very lonely. And it is at this is the make and break point. Some people, they can't handle the pressure. So what do? They go back to those who love. But what does Allah want you to do? Go back to the one who you should truly love, which is Allah through Allah's book. This is the testing point that every one of us has to go through. When we turn to Allah's book, then we are tested by those who we love. And second of all, we are tested by finance, by money. You might have to experience a change of career, a change of major, because you are convinced what you're doing might not lead you to the best thing for you. Right? It might convince you of the head. And your heart is convinced of it, you're trying to make excuses in your mind, but your mind just can't come up with enough of them. So it might mean some serious consequences. When that changes, it might change who you were planning to marry, or which neighborhood you were planning to live in, or what you were planning to do with your life. It might shatter your parents' dreams. It might shatter your dreams. It's pretty catastrophic stuff. It is only those who prove the great love of Allah that are able to pass this very difficult test. And once they do, this is the greater jihad, by the way. This is the great jihad. This is the jihad mentioned in Meccan Quran. We think of jihad in Madani Quran, right? Jihad mentioned in Surah Ankabut when the pressure from parents was mentioned in early, Surah Ankabut, right? وَمَنْ جَاهَدَ فَإِنَّمَا يُجَاهِدُ لِنَفْسِهِ. At the end of Surah Ankabut, وَالَّذِينَ جَاهَدُوا فِينَا لَنَهْدِيَنَّهُمْ سُبُلَنَا. I'm not going to translate because I want you to feel bad. Okay? So, these are the people that after they've tasted the sweetness of loneliness and they turn only to the Book of Allah, and those who have turned to the Book of Allah for counsel, they will experience the miracle of the Quran. The miracle that is not in science or in balagha or anything else. The miracle that is in Qur'an's guidance. The miracle that their hearts will finally reach contentment. The miracle that they will find a way out for them when they couldn't imagine one. وَمَنْ يَتَّقِ اللَّهِ يَجْعَلْ لَهُ مَخْرَجًا وَيَرْزُقُهُ مِنْ حَيْثُ لَا يَحْتَسِبُ. These are the people. They're going to experience the sweetness of guidance. They're going to experience Allah making a way out for them where they couldn't even imagine it. Only because they turned to Allah. And when they look back, they won't be able to explain by any formula how they ended up where they are. How everyone told them, you're not going to make it if you go this route, and they made it. Nobody will be able to explain it to them. This is Allah's favor on these people. May Allah make us from this first category. The second category of people are people, very common, that will say Qur'an is the haqq, is the truth. It's beautiful. What it's saying is true and it's wise and it's correct. But brother, I'm just not strong enough. Make dua for me. You know, I'm trying, but really, you know, it's too hard right now. You pray 5 times? All 5? On time? How do you do that? That's amazing. Right? Nobody ever says, you stop at a red light? All of them? That's awesome. How do you do it? Right? But with salah, oh my God, this is huge. You should get an award. Parents are saying, mera bacha, you know, 5 वक्त का नमाज़ी पढ़ो, पता है बहुत सही नमाज़ें वक्त पे पढ़ता है. Prays every salah on time. MashaAllah. You know, he even gets up for Fajr. He even prays Isha before he goes to sleep. It's like an accomplishment now. This was a bare minimum of being a Muslim, and now it's an accomplishment. Now you should get an award for it. Like stopping at a red light and somebody hands you here. Congratulations, Citizen of the Year. Right? It's ridiculous, our attitudes of how they've deteriorated. You know? But anyway, the second group of people, I'm not strong enough. Inshallah soon. I'm growing internally. And these are the people who are not knowingly actually making a lie against Allah. لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها. Allah does not burden anyone except they can hold that burden. Right? So if the burden, the obligation Allah gave us are the values and the guidance of His book, the instructions in His book, doesn't He already know we can hold it? He knows it, right? And He wouldn't have given it if He couldn't hold it. So if somebody said it's too hard, they're lying against who? Allah, because He said it's impossible that it'd be too hard. I wouldn't have given it to you if it was too hard. I only gave it to you because you can handle it by default, and Allah does not lie. So there's only two possibilities: you're lying or Allah is. And ma'adallah, the second one's impossible. So it's you. You're lying against yourself. This is the second category of people. Excuse makers. The third and the worst category of people. The second are weak. The third are hypocrites. And this is the worst category of people. These are people that are now becoming, they're surfacing more and more and more. And these are the people who don't want to let the world see that they are actually they're not willing to follow what Allah's guidance offers. But they want the Muslim community to think that they are actually sincere. So they want their image to be maintained while they don't want to practice anything. Okay, but they want their image to be maintained. So what do? They come up with very creative solutions. They come up with things like, oh, you know what? These scholars and these companions, they had a very male chauvinist understanding of Islam. And they were, confined by their time, and Qur'an is eternal guidance, so we are actually the first ones to correctly understand Islam and the Qur'an. And so all of these other backwards, orthodox, traditional, closed-minded interpretations of the Qur'an are, they're incorrect. And the way they'll do this, of course, when you say this, you sound like the champions of the Qur'an and everybody else is a villain, right? Because you're trying to do the right thing. So on their websites, they are, basically declaring themselves as heroes, right? These people have taken a pioneer step in the progression and bringing Muslims to light, etc. Such garbage. And what's their first step? The first thing they will do, attack the scholars of Islam. So they'll go after Bukhari, rahimahullah. They'll go after Imam al-Qurtubi, Imam Ibn Kathir, rahimahullah. They'll go after them. Their character, not even their writings, their character they'll go after them. And then they don't stop at that. They go next after the character of the Sahaba. But they don't stop there. Then they go after Hadith. And then they go after Qur'an, and they say the Qur'an, some parts of it are not to be interpreted anymore. They are basically dead for that time, and they don't apply anymore. That was all in that context. So their attack starts from scholars, it ends with Qur'an itself.